residente. In other words, the energy that we produce here will power a better life for the people who live in this community, but even beyond this community. Because although there are advantages, there are benefits to those living in this community, there is also the benefit to the grid because you are providing additional power, which we all know is something that we need. Dahil gamit natin ng mga bubong ng mga bahay na naitayo na, walang ginamit na farmland, walang tinanggal na kabuhayan at walang nasayang na lupa.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline, Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. challenged local government units, or LGUs, on Wednesday to improve transparency and participatory governance, underlining that public trust builds when people can plainly see how taxpayer-funded initiatives are carried out. President Marcos spoke at the Subaybayani Awards 2025 at the Manila Hotel, emphasizing the significance of transparency in all government programs and projects to prevent corruption, as well as the need for high standards in public service delivery. The President noted that when the public has access to government procedures, they become more empowered as our partners in promoting accountability. President Marcos pointed out that the newly opened Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH Transparency Portal, which strives to ensure that infrastructure projects are visible, examined, monitored, and useful to the community. The Transparency Portal allowed the public to watch every phase of infrastructure project implementation, from purchase to foundation laying to utilization. During the occasion, President Marcos recognized 126 LGUs, 9 top overall performers, and 3 Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG regional offices, for their exceptional collaboration and evidence-based monitoring. The President instructed the honorees to maintain high standards.
Tandaan natin na ang mamamayang Pilipino ay nagmamasid at may karapatang pumuna. At tayong mga nasa gobyerno, ang tagapanday at tagahatid ng tunay at maaasahan na serbisyo, continue to show that the public can trust and rely on their public servants. High quality remains our standard. A government worthy of its people does not settle for mediocrity, does not cut corners, does not waver. We strive for excellence because that is what our citizens deserve, and that is what our country deserves. So let us prove that when the public has access to government processes, they become more empowered as our partners in promoting accountability. That is why, and I say this in my as a firm belief, we must further strengthen an open and participative governance at all levels.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Also on Wednesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced that the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, and the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, will present evidence to the Ombudsman recommending the filing of plunder, graft, bribery, and conflict of interest cases against 8 lawmakers allegedly involved in irregular flood control projects. In his most recent public report on the government's ongoing flood control probe, President Marcos said that the investigation had revealed lawmakers who reportedly own construction companies with contracts in districts that they control. The President, however, chose not to disclose the lawmakers' names. President Marcos has been providing frequent updates on the nationwide flood control audit in response to complaints about overpriced contracts, anomalous procurement, and ghost projects. The study focuses on billions of dollars in public works projects that have been implemented over several years in multiple regions.